am no expert in all the meanings behind the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit story, but I do think that there is a reason that the Shire and the Hobbit lifestyle has appealed to so many people. Life in the Shire is in stark contrast to the dangerous adventures of the story, and I think the author did that on purpose. I think that life in the Shire, or the Hobbit life, is an idyllic human lifestyle, where there is an abundance of high-quality food, beautiful nature to be around, loved ones, everything is cozy. And even though it is a fantasy, I think there are some ways we can incorporate some of the Hobbit lifestyles to our own and make our lives more beautiful, comfortable, and all around better. The first step I have for living more like a Hobbit is to start making your food from scratch. Something that really appeals to me in the scenes of the movie or even descriptions in the books of the Hobbit lifestyle are how they have so much food on hand. And it's not just any food, it's food that has been worked hard for. It's high quality, homemade food. Not only is food more delicious when it's homemade, but it's also more appreciated because you know how much work goes into it. In the story of The Hobbit, where the dwarves come and eat all his food that he's been storing, this is devastating to him, not just because it's a bunch of food. He has put so much effort to make it. It's food that he has preserved and harvested from the year. A full pantry is a big deal to someone who has worked so hard for it. So to live more like a Hobbit, you can start making your own foods, like pickling things, making your own broths to make delicious soups on a cold day so that you can be nice and cozy like a Hobbit. And once you've mastered some of the basics of cooking from scratch, you can start to do some of the more advanced things, like learning how to make sourdough from freshly ground flour. This makes a very high quality and healthy bread versus a bread you'd buy from the store, which is actually not healthy for you. There is a reason that hobbits could eat so many different meals throughout the day and not be overweight. They were eating healthy food and they were working hard for it. Even though they seemed like they were kind of just content and didn't really do much, this is food that they actually worked for and they were happy with their work. Another more advanced thing you can learn is how to preserve food, like how to make sauerkraut, which is going to have a lot of probiotics that is good for your gut and is going to boost your health and immune system in so many different ways. And although it does take some extra time out of your schedule, these skills are actually pretty easy to learn. For instance, making sauerkraut is just cutting up cabbage, adding salt, squishing it, and putting it in a jar. And not only is it so much healthier than store-bought sauerkraut, like the one that you might buy in the aisle that's not probiotic at all, it's basically just salted cabbage, that's not going to be a nutrient-dense addition to your diet, but something that you make by yourself where you actually ferment the cabbage, that's going to be like taking a vitamin. The next way to start living more like a hobbit is to start gardening and growing your own food. If you have tasted the difference between a homegrown tomato versus a tomato from the grocery store, you will know what I'm talking about. It is so worth your time and energy. But I will say that it can be overwhelming if you do things the wrong way. For example, if you don't set up any deer fencing or things to deter rabbits, and you know that you have deer and rabbit around, you're going to be disappointed because the animals are going to eat a lot of your food that you worked so hard for. So when it comes to growing food or anything to do with making your own food, like having chickens, we have made so many mistakes that have caused a lot of stress that could have been avoided if we did things the right way. So I do encourage you to do some research before you get started on anything crazy with homesteading. But one thing that's really cool about growing your own food is you can start really small, even with just growing some herbs, which is really going to add a lot to your meals. Having fresh herbs on hand are going to be so delicious. And then you can move up to things like tomatoes and peppers, which are pretty easy to grow. And then you could even add things like some chickens once you have a lot of research and do things the right way. A fresh egg with healthy food that are able to eat bugs is going to be so different from a chicken or eggs from the grocery store. and it's so much more rewarding. The next way to live more like a hobbit is to spend more time in nature. It was not until modern times that we really all got stuck inside, and we are seeing a lot of negative impacts on people's mental and physical health because of all the time that they're spending indoors and on screens. Our attention spans are growing smaller and smaller, and our appreciation for the little things that God has given us in nature is also diminishing. But this is something we can practice and improve on. Start spending more time outside, maybe a little bit each day, until you have practiced more appreciation for the beauty of nature. As humans, we were created to be in God's creation. It is vital to the health of our body and mind. The next area of a Hobbit lifestyle we will focus on is inside the home, and that is to make a more cozy and natural feeling environment. This can be done in any kind of living situation by just adding some natural aspects, like lots of natural wood and woven baskets and things like plants. You can do this slowly, you don't have to do this all at once. I've collected things that I like over years, like wooden cutting boards or just random pieces of cool wood, so this doesn't have to be something expensive. Just adding natural elements to your home is going to create a much more cozy and natural feeling environment. Another important aspect of this is to switch out any bright artificial light for more cozy natural light, and you can do that by buying incandescent bulbs instead of bright LED bulbs. My final tip for inside the home is to create cozy little reading corners and add aspects that make you just feel cozy, like blankets, candles, books, and other cozy items. I hope you found this video inspiring, and I'd love to hear in the comments below more ideas for how you can live more of a cozy Hobbit lifestyle. Subscribe for more natural, nourished, and traditional living content.